guys, I am going to be doing, I'm going to be saying my life story, guys. Um, so, I got this idea from my friend at school. He said, why don't you guys just do a thing about your life story and share it? So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I'm gonna do it. There, but let me just tell you as forward advice that it is sad, let's just say. So let's get into this. I was born on October 22nd, 2002. I was two months early, and my mother had been taking drugs um, because she was in a depression from her divorce um, from the time that I was uh, born from the time that she was divorced. So basically, my mother, um, let's just say, my mother is not like uh, like just saying, just pretend this is my mother, and this is no, uh, this is my father. So my mother had been taking drugs, um, and my father didn't really want anything to do with me. But before I was born, they had three other children. Aaron, who is the oldest, Zach, then Kaylee. So Aaron, Zach, and Kaylee are um, my older half brothers because I'll get into that later. But my my father and mother split. They split. So um, they split up. They divorced because they were just fighting and stuff like that. Um, so they split up. Then I was born. After that, then I'm shaking. Um, this is a very serious topic that I'm talking about for me, but it it is serious and it is very true, and it's something that I don't want people to go through, especially people that deal with stuff like that I went through. It is not the best topic to talk about when you are in front of a camera, but that is so basically, um, whew, um, nipples. Uh, sorry, I'm so I just don't want to talk about this, but so where should I do now? So basically, they split up, and my father had didn't want anything to do with me because they were just fighting. So he is out of the picture. Um, so now my mother and me, um, I just I was just not being cared for. Like my mother was going to church at the time. She had some friends there that were kind of concerned about her and about me, and people knew me and stuff like that, and they knew I was born and stuff. Um, but my dad didn't want anything to do with me, and he just left with the three other children, Aaron, Zach, and Kaylee. Um, so they left, and then I was with my mother at the time, and so she was having me babysitted by her best friends from church, and um, she would change my diapers, and there's a couple at church that I was being babysitted by that she would change my diapers. They already had their names were Dana and Holly. Um, Dana is a boy, by the way. Just so you know, I know it's a girl's name, but it's a boy. Um, so basically, Dana and Holly had four other children, too. So they actually um, decided to babysit me, and uh, their children's names are Sarah, Emily, Ben, and Sam. So basically, they babysitted me, and when it was time for me to go back, like they would babysit me once, twice, three times a week. Then it became like a few weeks a month, then a few months a year, and it just got to the point where um, my mother that was like my mother at the time, uh, like actually didn't want to care for me, and she was still taking drugs, and she was still taking drugs until the point where she could no longer take care of me, which left me in a difficult situation because I was only 2 months, no, 2 years old, and so she later died, unfortunately, because of the way she was going and the path she was taking. So basically, she died. Uh, she died from the drugs and the depression that she was taking. Um, so basically, before like a month before that, the people that were babysitting me decided to adopt me from my mother that were very good friends. So my new mother, Holly, uh, decided to adopt me. She thought I was a perfect fit for the family. She loved me. She cared for me. She basically was my new mother because she babysat me all the time. And I loved that because I didn't want to go to orphan place. I didn't want to go to another family that was just like the old one I had. Um, but basically, I went to this new family that loved me, fed me, did whatever. I grew up, and they just fed me and stuff like that, and I was like their new child, and I was very obsessed with what I had, but I still had to cope with the loss that I was dealing with. So basically, I had to join um, Holly and Dana, which are now my mother and father. Um, so they are not my stepmom or stepdad. No, they're not. They're actually like my legit mother and father because a mother is someone who takes care of you like absolutely from the start. But my mother, who birthed me out, actually did not. She just didn't want anything to do with me because she was taking drugs and had depression from the divorce that she had severely taken. So that is what the beginning of my life was like. But through the through the years, I got older, and I um, my my brothers and sisters played with me, loved me, spoiled me, everything I could have. Um, uh, they just loved to spoil me because I was adopted and I was their favorite child. But it came to the point where they moved out when I was adopted into the family. They were teenagers, so they were about to go off to college. They were about to get jobs. They were just la da da. They were just much older than me. So I got older, and it was just my mother and father. So they went on to college, the older brothers and sisters, and they moved out and got married and had kids and stuff like that. And I love them dearly, and now they're all in the 30s. And I am only 14, so they were about 20-ish, 20 something, mid 20s when I was adopted. They were off in college and were about to get married and stuff like that. So basically, uh, I was with my mother and father, and my dad, um, not my real dad, my dad that adopted me. Uh, um, my dad was working late nights at, he's a machinist, so he works late nights. And I remember this one time where my dad went out to the car and he was at work. So he was at work and he had a flat tire and he called my mom, and my mom picked me up. Well, no, because I was sleeping at the time. I remember this. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and no, I think I was like 6 or 7. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I woke up and my mom said, "Come on, we have to go get Dad. We have to go help him. He has a flat tire." So we went to go do that, and I was shot. I was just so tired. I couldn't even open an eye, um, and I just got up that day and said, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to face with the fact that I love these guys, and I will make them my mother and father." So that is basically the middle part of my story right now. Um, and uh, basically, when that happened, uh, when I had to get up that day and just say, okay, you know what, I have to cope with the loss of my mother and my father that no longer cares for me, and my new family, my mother and father, um, loved me and spoiled me, but that's all I had, and they were getting older and older, and I was getting older too, but they were getting older, like older. Um, and I was starting to become like 10, 9, 8 years old, um, or 8, 9, 10 years old. Um, so basically, my mother told me that she had cancer. Um, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I just said, okay, like, what's cancer? What does that mean? And I said, what's cancer? So then my mother told me it's a disease and it could kill you. And I didn't know that she had been battling cancer for 6 years. 6 years. And I was about 12, no, 11 at the time. And she had um, in home hospice care. And I didn't know what to think because my dad was like, son, we're gonna have to let her have this because there's no any other way that we can do this. So basically, she she said, okay, I'm just gonna have to have this, and she went on with it, but it came to the point where she could no longer um, get up in the morning. She was tired, she was weak because all the chemo and radiation and the doctor visits just wore out. And it got to the point where she was losing her hair and she went bald. She had to wear a wig. Um, she was a nice lady. She was one of a kind. I loved her so much. Uh, so all I remember is the day that um, she died, 3 days before my 12th birthday. Yeah, she died before my 12th birthday. And I had my birthday early so that I could celebrate it with her. but she died on October 19th, 2014. And I had to deal with two now. My mother at birth male and my mother now that took care of me for all of my life. And I had to live with my dad now. And now my dad is currently searching for another wife that he can marry. But uh, my sisters and brothers all came to the funeral, and grandmas and grandpas and stuff like that, and they all came, and aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, everybody came because she was the uh, she was like the key to everybody in the family, and now my dad is just alone because everybody knew Holly, but they didn't really know my dad because Holly was like connected to everything, and she just was the like she connected to everything, and she was like the thing that held everything in place. She was the glue for the family. She was just everything. But my dad no longer had her, so she had to. I mean, he had to um, give that up. Um, they were married for 35 years. They had four children originally, and then they adopted me. But that is my life story so far. Um, So that is my life story. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's sad, but I just wanted to express that, guys, to you. I know there's gonna be hate comments like, "Oh, that's not true. Um, that's not real. That's fake." No, this is, trust me. Um, I know people that will um, say that's fake, that's not real, you're just making this up. No, this is for real. Like, I'm not joking. Like, this is for real. Um, so basically, that is it for my life story. I know that um, I will strive to not reflect off that, but be a better person because I know that there's better for me in life than losing two of my mothers. Yeah, two.